Occasionally when visiting a PeopleSoft search page, you may see these checkboxes that say Include History and Correct History. What do these mean? Well, to understand, you need to understand effective dated rows. The effective date is just a date that we attach to any bit of data in the system that allows us to keep the history of that data. For example, let's say the current date is July 7, 2016. We have 3 addresses in the system for one person. One is dated January 1st, 2008, one is dated January 1st, 2012, and one is dated January 1st, 2017. We have 2 dates that are historical, and one date that's a future date. Why might there be a future date in the system? Well, I might know that I'm moving next year, and I might know my address already. So I might have put it into the system so that when I move, that information is already updated. By default, when you go to a page in PeopleSoft that is effective dated, you will see only the current dated row. What does current date mean? That means the most recent effective dated row. So in this case, our current dated row would be January 1st, 2012. Depending on your access, you might not be able to see the future or the historical address. This will be the current dated row until January 1st, 2017 arrives, and then this address will update to be the current dated row. Let's look at the address page and see how this works. I'll search for my person, and my addresses page displays. I can view all of them. Notice that I see 3 addresses here, 2 of them with an effective date of February 17th, 2011, and one with an effective date of October 17th, 2008. If I go into Edit and view the address detail, I see only one address for each of these. This effective date, February 17th, is the most recent effective dated row. However, notice that down here I have this Include History and Correct History buttons, just like the checkboxes we saw on the search page. If I go to Include History, it'll ask me if I want to save. I'll say no. And the page reloads. I can click View All. But now when I go to my address detail, now I see all these historical addresses as well. I still can't change any of them. However, we do have this Correct History button down here. Most people won't get access to Correct History. If you're a fan of science fiction movies, you know that changing the past is a bad idea, and Correct History lets us change the past. This time, when I view all and go into the address detail, not only can I see all these previous addresses, but I have the update ability. Now I could go in and actually change these addresses historically. Generally, we don't want to do this. If we had a bad address in the past, we want to know that we had a bad address in the past, but it's important to understand these concepts. Most often, if you're entering data in the system and you put in an effective date, you'll use the current date just by clicking the calendar and selecting current date. However, there may be instances in which you may want to put in a historical or future date, and that will depend on the processes in your office.